If you decided to click on this video, I want you to make the commitment today to achieve nothing short and less than the greatest potential that God has placed you on this earth to accomplish starting today. You don't need permission. You don't need opportunity. You don't need your money to look different. You don't need to lose weight. You don't need for time to free up in your schedule. You have the obligation to commit to greatness today. Don't delay your greatness, not another day. I was inspired to make this video matter of fact, let me turn off this. I was watching a video today where Dr. Benjamin Hardy was having a conversation with Myron Golden. If you don't know who either of those people are, I highly implore that you look them up because they are mind transformational, phenomenal people. And Dr. Benjamin Hardy is promoting a new book that he is giving out for free called Scaling, I believe. It may be titled something differently, but it's about scaling. If you don't follow his work, he has done books called Be Your Future Self Now, 10X is Easier Than 2X, things that really transform the mind. And I have found myself highly gravitationally pulled and attracted to his work, to his books, because there is something in my spirit that sings when I hear the thoughts that are that come forth from his work. And I really believe it's because I have been sitting and accepting less than what God put in me to do in this world. I have, from the time that I was a young girl, always felt that I was put on this earth to do something great. I always felt like people like Oprah Winfrey and Beyonce and all these people were just people that, I was destined to become like. I really did. I believed that when I was a young girl. But then as I started growing up, I started letting the limitation, the limiting beliefs of other people snuff out that belief that I could become something great. I allowed people's perception of my ability or lack thereof to dictate whether I could really truly accomplish something, to the point that as I got into my adulthood, started saying stuff to myself like, why would I think that I could do something like that? You know how hard stuff like that is. You know how very little percentage of people accomplish something great thing. What made me think that I could do that? But now I know that that was the enemy. And the reason I am remembering and recalling these beliefs that I had in myself at the age of 5 is because the things that he's presenting in the books, the thoughts that he's putting out into the world is reminding me that I don't need to, that I didn't need to be born another type of person to achieve all that I wanted to achieve. I didn't need to be born into a different situation, have a better circumstance, have more giftings and abilities to become a highly impactful person. I am already a highly impactful person. I'm already a highly impactful person, believing the lies of people who are believing the lies of the demons that are sitting in their heads trying to convince them and suffocate their greatness. And if you are watching this video, that means that you know that you have been put on this earth to do way more than you've been doing as well. And so now I am committing to not massive action, but micro action. And the reason why I'm committing to micro action is because when I think of all the things that I want to accomplish, and if you don't follow Dr. Benjamin's work, his premise is this: in order to achieve the ultimate goals that you are trying to achieve, you need to set impossible goals for yourself with a shorter timeline. So, for example, if I want to grow $1 million business in, let's say, 5 years, instead of trying to delay the timeline out 5+ years to something that seems reasonable, setting reasonable goals, his thing is make it an impossible goal. Instead of trying to achieve $1 million in 5 years, try to achieve $1 million in 3 months. Now, I'm not saying that that's my new goal, but what happens when you do that is you start to think of, you have to change how you're going about things completely. You have to think of, okay, if I wanted to do that, you have to get creative. You got to eliminate the things that are deterring you from that goal. And then you start to move actually closer to that goal than you would have when the timeline was super far away. And I noticed that about myself. I noticed that when I came out swinging, when I changed my careers, when I decided that I was set on this path where I really truly believe that my purpose on this earth was to inspire the lives of millions of people. I truly believe that. I believe that God put me on this earth to inspire hope into millions of people. And then I allow life, the, outside influences, the people that I'm working around, the people that are in my ear, I allow their limitations and their beliefs to snuff out all that God had put in me to do, be, and act great. And I'm not doing that anymore. Why? Because there are millions of people that need to be inspired by me. Why? Just because God created me to. And how I know God created me to, because I have an innate desire to. And that's all I need. I don't need any more permission from anybody. I don't need somebody to be like, well, who do you think you are? I don't need to feel like, who do I think I am? I know who I am because God told me who I am when he created me to be who he created me to be. I know who I am because I know the God that is my father. And I know what he put in me when he decided to create me and birth me into this world. That's all I need to know. And so if you are somebody who has been sitting on your greatness and you've been slow to act on things because you've started to think, oh, these massive goals, like what in the world, like why would I even think that I could do some stuff like that? Let me be more realistic. Right? Let me be more realistic with what I can do and when I can do it and not try to burn myself out. That's why I'm committing to micro actions. Because a lot of the times when we adopt this mindset of massive action, aka the Grant Cardones of the world, that is a worldly view that you have to do the most to achieve. That's not the God we serve. He did not create us to do the most to achieve very little. When we come into partnership with God and allow him to in us through our little acts of obedience, that's when massive can appear without us doing things to burn ourselves out. Because the minute that I said, okay, Deanna, I need to commit to coming back to being great and achieving greatness, not for the sake of having a whole bunch of money, not for this. And that's why I'm not setting monetary goals per se. I'm setting achievement goals, because I know that God put me on this earth to achieve for the sake of inspiring. There are people who inspired me to give me a will to live. And if those people were not obedient and becoming who they were meant to become, I would not have hope that I could become who God is calling me to become. So that's the importance of it. If you need somebody to give you some type of reason why you need to do it, it's anchored on your obedience. So that's what I'm committing to. When I thought about this, achieving greatness again, I instantly got tired. My body is tired. My energy is low. There's so much going on in my body that just limits my ability to even do a lot, right? And I've been someone who has burnt myself out on multiple occasions. And I'm just like, God, how can I achieve greatness if I ain't got no energy to achieve? And that's when it dawned on me, God is not calling me to do the most. He's calling me to just do the little that he told me to do. And so when I thought of doing this video and pulling over my car into the garage, and just that is my act of obedience that God can bless, that God could put his hand on, that God can anoint, right? And then that's when he's going to do what he needs to do to use this as a seed that can grow and become something beyond the little bit of action that the little bit of effort that I put into actually just being obedient and getting out of my head and just pressing record. So here's my thing. I think a lot of micro actions is going to get me further than just one big massive action. And that's what I'm banking on. And I'm committing to greatness again. And because of that, I commit to taking a bunch of small micro actions, and I am trusting that God is going to put his hand on it, that it's going to become bigger than I could even imagine or think right in this moment. Because, and even if it doesn't, I know that my obedience and these actions is going to get me closer to the person that God is calling me to be. And that's going to get me closer to the fulfillment and the peace that I am yearning for in my body, in my mind, and in my soul. So hopefully this inspired you to take micro actions to becoming more of the person that God is calling you to become right now. Do not delay, not another minute. Somebody's life depends on it. That's it. That's all.